as we have a tradition, we normally honor one maker of Bhopal. Yesterday we honored Mr. Arjun Singh, and on the next day we have a tradition of honoring and felicitating shapers of Bhopal. Mostly it's bureaucrats. In the first year, it was Mr. K.S. Dhillon, ex-DGP of Punjab and Bhopal in Madhya Pradesh, also Vice Chancellor of Barkatullah University. Last year, it was Mrs. Nirmala Butch, and this year, the committee decided that the person to be felicitated would be Mr. Ashok Bajpeyi. He needs no introduction, but at the same time, it's well known that he's a noted poet, an educationist, and most importantly, an institution builder. Bharat Bhavan and all the academies he's been instrumental in shaping them and mostly building them. We'll request him to share his experiences and his relationships with Bhopal. Over to you, Bajpeyi Sahab.
Thank you very much for remembering me. I left Bhopal many years ago, 34 years ago. I spent only 17 to 18 years in Bhopal. But the Bhopal I landed up was a city of 3 Bs: bureaucrats, burkas, and buffaloes. That was the derisive description of Bhopal those days. There were 2 Bhopals, the old Bhopal and the new Bhopal, and there was not much interaction between the two. Madhya Pradesh has been carved out from incorporating many different regions. And these regions had their own culture, their own masters, but the other regions did not know about it. So one of my self-appointed tasks was that I must bring about some kind of a cultural integration between these Vindhya Pradesh and Madhya Bharat and Chhattisgarh and Mahakoshal. So we started with a multi-arts festival, which was done in 1973. These are ancient dates now, perhaps. But in 1973, for the first time, the government honored 13 outstanding personalities from music, namely Ustad Amir Khan, Pandit Kumar Gandharv, Pandit Krishrao Shankar Pandit, Ustad Amjad Ali Khan. From theatre, Habib Tanveer and Satyadev Dubey. From literature, Bhavani Prasad Mishra, Shri Mangal Singh Suman, Naresh Mehta, Shrikant Verma, Harishankar Prasai. From visual arts, N.S. Bendre and Vishnu Chinchalkar. Now, for the first time, Madhya Pradesh itself acknowledged that these masters, who were not merely masters of Madhya Pradesh, they were masters nationally, belonged to Madhya Pradesh. So, and the response that we got, you see, we have had audiences from music separately, from dance, of theatre, we put together a festival in which all these forms were together, and we found there was an audience. And this was harping back to an Indian tradition where arts were together in each other's neighborhood, were interdependent, were interactive, which tradition had grievously interrupted by the so-called modernism. So we tried to create a different sensitivity, and we found there were takers in Bhopal. After all, whatever happened in Bhopal by way of culture happened with the full support of the ordinary citizens of Bhopal. In our functions, we did away with many of the um, officious ceremonies, offering garlands, having Deep Prajwalan, all these we cut off. And there were no inaugurations. So we gave no opportunity to any ministers or any bureaucrats to come and cut the ribbon. If at all an inauguration had to take place, it would take place by having people from culture itself. So there was a different model being developed in Bhopal. And I was lucky to have political support, lucky to have bureaucratic, uh, let's say, enthusiasm, and of course, the citizens of Bhopal. Ultimately, this and we created a number of institutions. So we had Dhrupad Kendra, we had Chakradhar Nitya Kendra, we had Madhya Pradesh Adivasi Lok Kala Parishad, we had Kalidas Academy, we had Ustad Alauddin Khan Sangeet Academy, apart from Madhya Pradesh, Urdu Academy, Sanskrit Academy, Sindhi Academy, Tulsi Academy. The number of institutions that were created, I am sorry to say that, but most of them are in disarray today. But they were created with good intention, and we became a major cultural hub in the country. When Bharat Bhavan was inaugurated, the then Prime Minister, Indira Gandhi, said that Bhopal is becoming the cultural capital of India. Mind you, the Prime Minister's own political capital, she was admitting, was not the cultural capital of India, that Bhopal was becoming the cultural capital of India. And Bharat Bhavan was a unique institution in that all these arts came together. So there was music there was theater there was visual arts, etc. We also tried to redefine the so-called contemporariness or modernity, which was only thought of as urban modernity, as urban contemporariness. We brought not only in the museum folk and tribal art of Madhya Pradesh, we produced plays, if historically for the first time, full-length plays in Chhattisgarh, in Bundelkhandi, in Nimadi. And these are plays by whom? By Shudra, by Shakespeare, by Bertolt Brecht, etc. So there was this ethos, this ambiance where, and Bharat Bhavan was located at the meeting of the old Bhopal and new Bhopal. And in the very first year, 100,000 people visited Bharat Bhavan because we had imposed a small ticket. 100,000 people in a city which had at that time a population of 9 lakhs. And Bhopal is not a tourist city of much consequence. So maybe 10,000 were tourists, but 90,000 people in a city visiting an art center. This number, incidentally, I checked up. At that time, the combined figure of National Museum, the National Gallery of Modern Art, and the Crafts Museum in Delhi, 3 national institutions, was only 46,000. So art came to the people and people came to the arts. The notion that people, and Bharat Bhavan, if you look at it, it doesn't have a imposing gate or something which will, will sort of make you run away. You can enter the building and the building is below I mean, it was called a non-building by the architect himself. But apart from that, we had a series of initiatives which we took. We started Khajuraho Dance Festival because temples and classical dance had parted company. We thought at least for a week we can bring them together. Drupad, which was supposed to be to have been born in Gwalior, had disappeared from Madhya Pradesh altogether. So we created a Drupad Kendra. We created a Chakradhar Nrit Kendra because in Raigad, a branch of Kathak has emerged. A new Gharana almost came into being, but was completely forgotten. The main dancer had become a farmer. I pulled him out from the fields and brought him to teach in Bhopal. I mean, we brought Tijan Bai onto the international stage. We brought Asgari Bai again, who had given up, the only surviving lady singer of Drupad from Tikamgarh, was running a shop of pickles and peppermint. She was restored and brought back to. We did a Sarangi Mela. And we did a World Poetry Festival. We did the Asian Poetry Festival. All this. Now, I'm only giving you because people must have forgotten all this. What is important, however, to remember is the then governments did not interfere with these institutions. Their autonomy was respected. And they were not asked to, once I told the chief minister that why should we give our awards only by the prime minister and the president and the vice president? Why don't we call the presidents of Indian culture? And he looked intrigued and he said, what do you mean? I said, we should invite Mahadevi Verma, Pandit Ravi Shankar, Maqbool Fida Hussain. He said, would they come? I said, of course they will come. So for the next 3 years, Kalidas Samman, other Sammans were given not by political or constitutional authorities, by some of the most eminent and outstanding figures of culture. So it was I must say, feel very grateful that Bhopal gave me this opportunity. I very feel the then government and their political leadership supported me, did not interfere with my work, allowed me, and therefore, at that time, for younger artists, Madhya Pradesh became the marker. A classical dancer once told me, sir, if I don't get invitation from Madhya Pradesh, I will never make it. Because they say, aapko Madhya Pradesh mein bulaya gaya hai ki nahi? So you see, it was hard work, but I must say that I had my colleagues and there were others. It was not entirely my doing. There were others. Some of them were my colleagues in the government, but many others were artistic colleagues, people like J. Swaminathan, B.B. Karan, and others, whole lot. Madhya Pradesh never had a cultural identity of its own. Your food habits in Malwa come from Maharashtra. Some of them come from Rajasthan. Some of them come from Andhra Pradesh. Some of them. So we tried, at least in culture, to create a situation and an ambience where culture deserves the respect and attention it deserves.
Thank you very much. As always, it's been enlightening, to use the term. It's been heart inflating, if not mind expanding. Mind expanding is reserved for intellectual stuff. You sort of rekindled a lot of memories which were in the twilight of our brains. Since our lingua franca is English, Hindi come English, I'll now switch over to Hindi. आप ये बताएं कि ये हमने सिर्फ सुना था कि जब आपने कहा कि इंटरफेयर नहीं करना चाहिए सरकार को, तो कई बार अर्जुन सिंह जी आते थे, ये बताया गया है, हमने देखा नहीं है, कि वो आकर अपनी कुर्सी पीछे डलवा लिया करते थे और कई बार लोगों को ये पता भी नहीं पड़ता था कि वो आए और प्रस्तुति देखकर या नाटक देखकर चले गए। क्या यह सच है?
हाँ, ये सच है। मैं आपको 2 उदाहरण देता हूँ। वो अख्तरुल ईमान का कविता पाठ सुनना चाहते थे। उनका फ़ोन आया कि अख्तरुल ईमान साहब का आज कविता पाठ है। मैंने कहा हाँ है। तो कहा मैं आऊँगा, पर आप मेरी चिंता मत कीजिएगा, पीछे एक कुर्सी रखवा दीजिएगा। तो मैंने वो कुर्सी रखवा दी। अब सच बात तो ये है कि वो कब आए और कब चले गए मैंने देखा नहीं, क्योंकि मैं तो उस कार्यक्रम को संचालित करने में व्यस्त था और उनके पास बैठा हुआ था। दूसरी बार जब हमारा विश्व कविता समारोह हुआ, तो उसमें निकारागुआ के कवि आए थे, महान कवि अर्नेस्टो कार्दिनाल। अर्नेस्टो कार्दिनाल को वो सुनना चाहते थे, क्योंकि वो एक मिनिस्टर भी थे, कार्दिनाल भी थे और घोर कम्युनिस्ट थे। तो ये बड़ा अद्भुत और बड़े कवि थे। तो उसी तरह से फिर हुआ, एक कुर्सी पीछे रखवा दी गई। अब वो आए, कब चले गए उसका हमें पता नहीं चला। दूसरा उदाहरण दिग्विजय सिंह का है। वो उस समय मंत्री तो थे, अब काहे के मंत्री थे मुझे याद नहीं है। उनकी ध्रुपद में दिलचस्पी थी। हम लोग हर वर्ष एक ध्रुपद समारोह करते थे। तो वो आते थे और अंतरंग जो हमारा सभागार है उसके ठीक पीछे बैठते थे और चुपचाप आते थे, चुपचाप चले जाते थे। ये था।
तो just to recall that at that point in time I used to be a student at the college. मुझे याद है, but now that it's come from the horse's mouth, so you'll be flattered to know that काफ़ी बातें आपकी हम लोग इसको भोपाल इंटरनेशनल सेंटर को सेटअप करने में हमने वी मेड इट अ पॉइंट दैट वी शुड फर्स्ट डिज़र्व एंड देन डिज़ायर। तो हम लोगों ने भी फेस्टिवल्स और बाकी चीज़ें पहले की हैं, शासन के पास और कॉर्पोरेट के पास बिल्कुल नहीं गए हैं। तो एक तरह से वी बीन इंस्पायर्ड बाय योर जर्नी, और सिंस वी ऑलवेज रिक्वेस्ट आवर गेस्ट दैट वी मस्ट ऑलवेज इंटरेक्ट ट्वाइस, तो मौका लगा तो कम से कम एक बार और आपसे मुलाकात होगी इन सम पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम, और होपफुली फिजिकली होगी। थैंक्स वंस अगेन फॉर दिस वंडरफुल।
मैं इधर 18 और 24 के बीच भोपाल आऊंगा। हमारे पारिवारिक विवाह है, तो उसमें रहूंगा मैं 4-5 दिन भोपाल। पर जब आप कहेंगे मैं आ भी जाऊंगा, ऐसी कोई दिक्कत नहीं। और मैं अभी जो रजा फाउंडेशन चलाता हूँ, जो संयोगवश मध्य प्रदेश के ही एक बड़े कलाकार ने स्थापित किया, सैयद हैदर रजा ने
जी,
उसमें हमने शुरू से ही ये नीति बनाई
जी,
कि हम जो कुछ करेंगे अपने साधनों से करेंगे,
जी,
न किसी सरकार से कोई मदद लेंगे, न किसी कॉरपोरेट से कोई मदद लेंगे।
जी,
हम दोनों से कोई मदद नहीं लेते।
जी,
हमारे पास जितने साधन हैं उनसे हम करते हैं, और हम 75 आयोजन करते हैं एक वर्ष में, और 20 शहरों में करते हैं।
तो आपसे
शास्त्रीय संगीत, शास्त्रीय नृत्य, विचार, साहित्य, ललित कला, रंगमंच,
जी,
सिनेमा,
जी,
इन सब से जुड़े हुए। और कम से कम आपको ये बताने में भी मुझे प्रसन्नता है
जी,
कि मध्य प्रदेश के 2 मूर्धन्य,
जी,
जो कुमार गंधर्व
जी,
और हबीब तनवी, इनकी स्मृति में हमने वार्षिक व्याख्यान माला शुरू की है।
जी,
आज तक 9, 10, 12 व्याख्यान हो चुके हैं। हर वर्ष हम 9 व्याख्यान करते हैं,
जी,
स्मृति व्याख्यान।
जी, मौका लगा तो कभी कुछ जॉइंटली करेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
और अगर आप चाहेंगे तो आपके सेंटर में भी कुछ आयोजन में या तो हम आपकी मदद कर सकते हैं, या सीधे भी वहां कुछ कर सकते हैं।
जी, जी, श्योर। थैंक यू वेरी मच।